Trump's sexual assault accusers speak out in election ad. Wow. Accusers with an S. There's several. Trump's sexual assault accusers have spoken out in a haunting new election ad. Watch this.
My name is Natasha Stoynoff. In 2005, I went to interview Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago. At one point, Melania went upstairs to change her clothes for the next photo shoot. And Trump said to me, I want to show you this beautiful painting, this beautiful room. He leads me to this room, pushes me against the wall, and starts kissing me forcefully. I tried to push him. He kept coming back at me. I was in shock and smothered, and he had his hands here against my shoulders. I felt sick inside. I felt horrified. And thank goodness the butler charges into the room. Like many women, I blamed myself. So Trump turned to me and said, you know we're going to have an affair, don't you? And Melania was approaching. I was horrified. When the Access Hollywood tape came out, and also stories of many other women, including E. Jean Carroll, I realized I was not to blame, that he was just a predator of women. What could have happened if the butler had not come into the room? Donald Trump is an adjudicated sexual assaulter. We cannot elect this man as president.
Anti-Psychopath PAC Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Who needs an October surprise when we have a string of women from the candidate's own history, adjudicated, as she said? The ads are backed by George Conway's Anti-Psychopath PAC. The fact that that even exists tells you everything you need to know. It's a thing, and people are contributing to it. A lot of money behind it because it's necessary.
With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show.
One of their own journalists, Natasha Stoynoff, recounted what happened when she visited Trump at Mar-a-Lago in 2005. Never forgot it. I get it. A lot of us have been through this kind of nonsense. In a separate ad, Jessica Leeds described her encounter with Trump on a plane in 1979. Roll that.
1979, I had gotten on an airplane. The stewardess said to me, would you like to come up to first class? In the window seat was a gentleman, said that his name was Donald Trump. The airplane took off, and all of a sudden, Donald Trump started groping me. He was trying to kiss me, and I'm trying to push him away. He was basically overpowering me. When he started putting his hand up my skirt, I got out of the seat, grabbed my purse, and went back to my original seat. And I certainly was shook up by the whole thing. 2 years later, at this fundraiser, up comes Trump and his wife. And he looked at me and he said, I remember you. You're that cunt from the airplane. Donald Trump views women as for his entertainment. He is a serial predator. He has said it at point blank, and he's done it, and he will continue to do it.
So I happen to believe her. Not only was she sexually assaulted, nowadays they'd land a plane for that. They turned the plane right around, and then some pretty powerful law enforcement would come on and remove you. And people would be reporting it. And it would be up everywhere. Shade Room, TikTok. So not only does he sexually assault Miss Leeds, but in their next encounter, he calls her a Tuesday for good measure. This is who your Republican presidential nominee is. Why, what purpose would Miss Leeds have for coming out and telling this embarrassing, pathetic story? And there should be no embarrassment to her, but it's not really worth it when you come forward because people don't seem to get it. Then there's Michael Cohen, one-time fixer. Remember Cohen? They put him through hell too when he finally saw the light and called it Independence Day and said, I'm no longer on the bandwagon. Put him through hell. Family too. He's also speaking on the dangerous threat Donald Trump poses if reelected, going as far as to say he's working on a plan to flee the country. Watch.
What do you think happens to you if he wins?
Well, I'm out of here. I mean, I'm already working on a foreign passport with a completely different name. I don't know how it's going to work as far as dealing with my wife and my children. I certainly don't want them moving to where I'm looking to go. But I don't think yourself the president of MSNBC, General Milley, Liz Cheney. How many people has he turned around and said that these are people that I intend to go after if I have the ability to? And the worst is the Supreme Court's recent decision that gave him immunity, presidential immunity. Now he thinks it's not only is it I can do whatever I want, but I can't even be prosecuted. It's a get out of jail free card.
You can certainly understand why Michael Cohen, the one-time fixer, is afraid and thinking about fleeing. Mr. Cohen, the plan's not well thought out. You don't know what you're going to do with your family left behind, apparently. They were also targeted, apparently, by the former president. You are talking about a passport with an alias on it. And I don't believe that you've been promised protection by the feds, but nonetheless, you can understand what he's saying and why he would be afraid. Recent rally, Trump discussed criminalizing dissent, one of his favorite things. The rally Monday, Pennsylvania, the former president said for at least the fourth time that criticizing judges and justices either is or should be illegal. And for what may be the first time, he directly said people who do so should go to jail. Washington Post. It's now Trump who says attempts to criticize and apply pressure, playing the ref, as he often puts it, should be a crime. After praising the Supreme Court for favorable opinions at a rally Monday in Indiana, Pennsylvania, former president turned to those who express the opposite view, quote, and they take a lot of hits because of it, Trump said of the justices. Should be illegal. What happens? You have these guys that are like playing the ref, like the great Bobby Knight. What are you talking about? The same Bobby Knight who grabbed the player by the throat. And he grabbed the player by the throat and lied about it. He also threw a chair. Some people liked him. He won. The general. Why are you bringing Bobby Knight into this? He got fired. These people should be put in jail the way they talk about our judges and our justices, trying to get them to sway their vote, sway their decision. Trump has been slowly building toward an explicit threat of jail time. He's previously said criticizing judges is or should be illegal, often while invoking the Indiana University coaching legend Knight, who famously berated referees. Aha. Finally, Bobby Knight was called out, fired, whatever you want to call it. They had enough of his threats and intimidation. They just did. He ruined, if you watch some documentaries, some great, hopeful young players' lives by his behaviors. Of course, Trump likes him, and he was good in his day. Didn't Isaiah Thomas play for Bobby Knight? At any rate, Trump, yeah, he did. You see, I used to do a little sports reporting. Did Isaiah and Magic make up? If I could get a thumbs up on that, I'll move on, I promise. No, they're still kind of at odds. That's a shame. It's been long enough. You guys make up. Let's make up. Kobe and Shaq did before he died. Anyway, back to Trump and these rallies and this nonsense about, as Americans, you should not even be allowed to criticize. You should not be allowed to speak up, or you should be jailed. Says the man who criticizes a lot of things and said we should, at one point, he said, didn't he say we should throw out the Constitution? Rose, I need you to make this thing into some kind of salad that is consumable, because he's not making any sense.
Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna get this answer from where Donald Trump gets most of his answers from. It just seems like every single answer to every problem or solution is just something he's making up on the fly. We're gonna prosecute, like this guy has criticized so many rulings that have gone against him, particularly with his fake election fixing thing, where like 100 different courts shot him down. He criticized all of those rulings. It's just nuts. It's just what he does. It's by the seat of his pants. And, it's funny because part of me, when people were defending Kamala for not having a policy and blah, blah, blah. Does she really need one? She could still win the election, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, guys, she should tell people what she thinks about, what she wants to go out and do and how she plans on trying to accomplish it, whatever. This is just the norms of our democracy. But at the same time, man, I have sympathy for those people when the person she's running up against is literally making it up as he goes. He's gonna put a tariff on every export from China, import from China. He's gonna put a 10% cap on credit cards. He's gonna not tax tips. He's all of this, Social Security. He's getting rid of that. Like, he's just making stuff up that he thinks sounds good, and nobody ever asks him a follow-up about how are you actually gonna accomplish any of this stuff.
That illustration at the top kind of threw me, so forgive me. Where you said you were getting it out of your, but I get it, because that's honestly, that is what is going on here. It's what's going on, Rose. And I just think that we have to call it like we see it. Call it like we see it. And I think the way you buttoned that was brilliant.